Yeah. Yeah. Bob and I are first cousins.
Okay, Mac, we're recording and ready when you are.
All right, we'll call the meeting the Jasper Municipal Regional Planning Commission. Looks like the reading and approval of minutes. Do we have those in the packet?
No, Linda's on vacation.
Okay, we'll dismiss that then. Postpone it. Is that right, Chad? We'll just
Yes, sir.
delay it. Okay. All right, moving right along then, Chad, how about taking over with the new business?
Okay, well, we have Mr. Curlin on the phone. He has submitted a plan, a site plan for First Choice Storage on Industrial Boulevard. And I'm gonna put that up on the screen here. If you give me 1 second to put that up there so we can all look at it together. Actually, I need to go back one. They carried the Ruby subdivision.
Yes.
Do we have anybody on the call to represent that one?
I am Jeff Elliott.
Okay, Jeff, sorry, I glanced down at my agenda packet and First Choice was the first thing that showed up. So we need to take care of this one first. So that's the one I've got up here on the screen. There's only a couple of minor corrections on this, really no big deals. One was to show the building setbacks and the other was to change the zoning. It had R1 listed and it should be R2. Other than that, everything as far as the layout here complies with your zoning ordinance. I did not recommend any variances for the existing buildings, just for the sheer fact that this subdivision plat and the new lines don't create the need for the variance. They're any violation beyond any existing line. So, I mean, other than this plat that you see up here on the screen, I didn't see any major problems with it, just those two corrections that needed to be made. Mr. Elliott, do you have a final plat that you've started getting signatures on?
I do. That's at City Hall.
Okay.
Okay, any discussion? Jeff, you need to explain anything or need to expound on it, Lee?
No, well, we abandoned that one lot line so her building would be on her lot where she lives. We moved it that east line of her lot, lot 1.
Okay,
She just wanted to keep that building, so that's why we moved it to 10 feet. But other than that, that's about it. All this, lot 3 and lot 2 were one lot. And she wanted to separate those apartment buildings off of the lot. So she'd have a vacant lot.
Does that say Victoria Avenue?
It does.
Is that the?
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what happened there. It's Victoria. That's my address.
Oh, we had a new street. That's a new one to me. I had not heard that one yet.
I don't know how that happened. I had Victoria on everything except that one.
Now, where do you see that? I don't even see that on here.
top, very top.
There's my address for the business.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't see it either. Somebody else saw it, pointed it out to me.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see.
Oh, I see it.
So maybe one other minor correction, but other than those two things, I don't see any issue with this plat. I mean, being electronic, we're not able to have the signatures and they haven't been obtained yet. So I would recommend this being approved contingent upon getting all of the necessary signatures before it's signed off by the Planning Commission.
Okay. In the form of a motion? I know you can't make a motion, but I mean, would somebody make that motion?
Motion to approve.
All right.
Chairman, this is Stan, and I'll make a motion that we approve the plat as presented with the exception of getting the signatures on.
And is there a second? I thought I heard a first and a second or something.
I'll second it. I started out with the motion.
Okay, yeah, all right. Well, good deal. We got a first and a second on this. All those in favor of the motion?
aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Glad to see you, Jeff.
Glad to see you, that you're doing well.
We are. We're doing great. Thank you.
Okay, moving right along, Chad.
Okay, now the one I thought we were to. This is Mr. Curlin's property, First Choice Storage on Industrial Boulevard. He has submitted a site plan to add an additional building onto that property. Had just a few minor comments on this. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it a little bit better here. This is the proposed building. It is what looks to be a 55 by 195 building. It also includes a 35 by 55 covered parking area. Now, and talking to Mr. Curlin on the phone, I think a portion of this is going to be enclosed on a few sides, and it does lie in a zone A, but also understand there's been some fill on the property. So this little section right here is in a zone A flood zone, so he will have to work with Mr. Geary to ensure that however that's constructed, it will be in compliance with the flood ordinance. Other comment, I know from the pictures that I have seen of the existing site that there was some outdoor storage of vehicles. Any outdoor storage of vehicles by your zoning ordinance is required to have a 6-foot tall opaque fence around it. Now, I know this shows a proposed fence of 6 feet tall, chain link with barbed wire at the top, but if there's to be any outdoor vehicle storage that's outside of this here, it would have to be covered by that fence. Mr. Curlin, do you plan to do any outdoor vehicle storage?
Well, first of all, we've been in business 15 years, and we just keep expanding because of the demand. And this is our last build. We had always planned to have this building done, but it's about cash flow and all that. So this will be a nice building. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with my facility, but we don't put any of the units toward the front, the doors and all that. They're solid metal, and so we don't have opaque fences on any of our facility. Now, when you talk about, we have allowed some of our customers, because they just don't know where to put their trailer or this, temporarily. And in the interim, we do have I allow three things to be parked over there on the front by the road. And this should take care of that. So can you that's the lot. We're going to clean that up and build our building just like we've always done. We raise it up. We're 2 feet above the road, and so we worry a lot about water and all that. So we're not going to do anything to cause any problems with flooding and whatnot. So I guess that's it. Linda and I, my wife Linda and I, we own and operate First Choice Storage, and I'll throw this in. If anybody needs a storage building, give me a call. So now that's a temporary turnaround right there. That fence you're looking at, where the trailer and the car and the 2 trailers are, that was an interim, and it was required because that's a dead end aisle on the right side of that building. So I needed a turnaround to go back out. This next building will take care of that, and those parking spaces go away. They're not available anymore because all that'll be paved, and you'll be able to drive all the way around the front and back of all the buildings, and you come in and out of that gate on the left of the building there. So those go away. Now, what's proposed on the front of that, Chad, is some covered parking. And, that's what that's about. So we won't have outdoor parking, we'll have covered parking.
Okay, now, that's what I wanted to know. As long as the parking is considered to be indoor, that opaque fence is not required. And anywhere you have outdoor storage garages, we would typically require the opaque fence, but since those are existing and not part of this addition onto there, and everything will be inside, I didn't know that was something that was necessary. And then as far as the parking, your engineer had mentioned on there, it was a reference to, I think, is some sort of industrial parking, and I made a note of what the actual correct parking should be based on their zoning code, which I think you're going to have plenty of that there. It was just 1 space for each 200 storage cubicles, plus just 2 spaces required.
I've got 4 units across the street, or parking across the street, and I've got 5 over there. And, I don't know, I can't move that mouse, can I? Well, can you see my mouse?
No, sir, I can't.
Okay. So I have 5 parking places over there, and if you considered them too deep, I would have 10. So you know, I'm fully paved and got plenty of parking over there. So that's not an issue.
This is Mike Hodges, and I'm with AD Engineering for this project. And on the parking counts, we figured out based on the amount of units he has on this property and the property across the street, he would need a total of 5 spaces. And he's at, even without double parking, he's currently at about 9 spaces. So I think he's covered on the amount of parking. I just had done the calculation in the wrong way there on the drawings.
Okay. I think that's all I had to note on this plat. I just made a couple of notes here at the top I was looking at again to call your attention to, but other than that, I didn't see any issues with the site plan, just this parking section to be amended, and then working with Earl Geary on any compliance that's necessary for the flood ordinance. Other than that, I would recommend approval of the site plan.
Can I ask another question?
Yes, ma'am.
He was talking about the outdoor vehicle storage, and he said it was going to be covered. But does that mean it's going to be enclosed, or is it just going to be a roof over that? And you'll still be able to see those vehicles?
Ms. Wilson, what I'm proposing is that it'll have a front on it. If you drive by our facility, you'll see I never face a unit toward the road. Okay, so what I was proposing, that it'll be a solid metal front on it, but it won't go all the way to the pavement, so that it allows any flood water, if it were to ever happen, to move in and out without any restriction. So it'll be like a foot or 2 off of the ground. You won't be able to see the parking.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you.
Any other discussion? We have a motion to approve the first choice storage as presented and as recommended by Chad.
I make
I
the
make that motion.
Okay, Yvonne made the motion, got a second.
That was
That was
Debbie.
actually
That's
Debbie.
Debbie.
That's
Well, Debbie, Yvonne, okay, I can't see either one of you.
But Yvonne will
Okay.
second that.
All right, so we got a first and a second. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried. All right, Chad, what we got next? Thank you, Mr. Cullen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so last month we had started the discussion on short-term rentals, and I had provided you with a sample ordinance from the city of Red Bank, what they had been, actually what they had adopted. So I didn't know if that was something you wanted to continue discussing this month, or if you had anything else you'd like to ask about it. So I left that on here just as a table item from last month.
I haven't had any more conversations with, the person that brought it up. So, I don't know if that is actually going on or not, or whatever. So, but it's whatever the planning board really wants to address or not.
Well, I personally think if we don't have a problem right now, if we don't have any complaints or any problems, I don't see, I mean, it doesn't hurt to look at it and continue to discuss it. But as far as actually doing I guess a proposal, I mean, whatever you call it, I think we could probably hold off on that right now unless we get some more problems arising.
I agree.
Anyone else have any discussion on it? It's, thank you, Stan. That's sort of the way to look at it, I think.
And I also want to say, Chad, I appreciate, I did go over this and look at some of this, these ordinances here, and it's kind of really, I mean, there's a lot to it. So, I mean, it looks good to me. Like if there's something we wanted to adopt, I believe that this is a good example of what we could probably look at, you know, in the future of doing. If so, we appreciate you pulling that stuff out because it's very informative.
Sure. And if this is something you want to move forward with in the future, I mean, we don't have to move forward with it now. That's just something that had come up last month for discussion. And I think of all the ordinances we've done in the region, this is probably one of the better ones, in my opinion, from what some other communities have done. So I think it's a pretty good starting point if you decide you want to look at it again.
Chad, we appreciate you trying to keep us ahead of the curve,
Do
or
what
at
we
least keep
can.
up with the curve. All right, anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to bring up something if I might.
Sir, go Stan.
I know we got a big election coming up tomorrow, and I think I want to just take this opportunity to thank the mayor, no matter how it turns out tomorrow. I want to thank him for the opportunity for me to be on this planning commission. I think it's all in all, it's been run fairly well and actually really well. And I just want to just tell him I appreciate the opportunity he's given me to serve on this board. And just wish him good luck no matter how it goes, and hopefully he'll be here next month.
Appreciate it. I sure hope so, but I just throw a little bit out there. I just received word from FEMA last week. All of our projects are fully funded. So we're be reimbursed for what we've already done and what little we've got to do. It includes paving, some paving up in Prior Cove, the bank stabilization in a couple of places where we had to put it back. So that was done. I also received notice today that we should be receiving our other COVID money within a couple of weeks. So, you know, got some good news anyway. So, but I sure hope I'm here. If not, I really appreciate working with everyone. Been a pleasure.
A pleasure.
Thank you, Mike.
Let me ask one question, Paul. It's time for the Whitwell Church training program. Do we have any plans for that, or we're just leaving it till after the election, or have they canceled it?
Chad, you want to address that?
So we have canceled the in-person meeting for this year. What we're going to do is
Okay,
put training materials online that you can view between now and the end of the year, and we're going to do it that way. We just felt it best not to bring that many people together from so many different.
okay. I hadn't heard a word about it, and I really didn't know. So, okay.
Yeah. So
That's
what
fine.
we'll do is once we have the training materials together, we'll send the link out to everyone to our website of where those will be posted.
That'll be fine. That'll be just fine.
Appreciate that, Chad.
Sure.
And then one more update. Mayor Evans had asked for some assistance in applying for a Tennessee Department of Health grant. That was to possibly do a basketball court and some new restrooms at the park. And so we did submit that on behalf of the town last week. So
That's
it
good.
was a pre-app phase, so we should know by the early part of December if they invite us to a full application. And then on the sidewalk project, we spent many, many months working with TDOT on trying to get clearance for the environmental. And so that part has been approved. So we have one next step trying to find out how we need to go about making sure that the engineer we already have that we can keep without having to procure a new engineer. The engineer we have now actually helped design the entire project when it was all in one phase before we broke it into two phases. So that's sort of our next step, is working with TDOT to find out what we need to do before we can work on our design plans. So that's where that stands with the sidewalk project.
And I got a couple of updates too. Tomorrow at 2:00, I have a meeting with the Huddle House people and also TDOT out at Western Sizzling or on the property there. And I've got a pre-construction meeting, or the mayor will have a pre-construction meeting December the 4th, I think it is, about Industrial Boulevard. So it is going to, or it's in, I think December 4th. So, but anyway, that project is fixing to be let out. So I think it's letting out this month and pre-construction December. So things are moving forward with that also.
Good.
And then one last thing I guess we can mention too is the Tennessee Downtowns program. Mayor Evans and another one of the planners in our office have been working to close that out and seek the final reimbursements now that all that work has been completed in the downtown area. So that's sort of in the closeout phase as well.
All right,
I think that's all I have.
is that it? Anybody else have anything?
I don't.
All right, well, you all take care and stay safe and all that. I love to hear people tell me to stay safe. Don't y'all?
I'm sort of sick of it. I'm sort of sick of it myself.
Pretty much. All right.
Good night.
Have a good evening.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.